All right, so I just wanted to record this quick video. Well, I say quick video, probably won't be, but I've got some time here. So someone just posted a question in the forums, and I am now answering the question in the forums with a video of me looking at the forums. So it's very meta or something here. So the question is related to an interview question. So the question is, write a program to reverse a particular string in a group of strings based on user input. So for example, the input is hello world and then 1. So I'm assuming these will come in as two different parameters. If they don't come in as two parameters, then that's kind of strange, but fair enough. We could work with that. I'll work with it on the basis that it's one parameter and work with it from that point. But really, I think it should be two parameters. In any case, you see the string is hello world, and then the input here is 1, which means I want to reverse the first word, and then the output would be in such a way that the first word is reversed and the second word is left by itself. And then the second input is, well, we want the fourth word, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, which is meaning to be reversed. So what is the, and then meaning is reversed, although it looks like this should be an M and it's not. Yeah, so I'm assuming that should be an M, not an N. Anyway, so so the question is, how do you separate the words and take in the number in this case? So like I said, if it's two different inputs, or two different parameters, one is a string and one is like an int, then this would make it a little bit easier, but I'm going to make it a little bit harder and assume that it's not two parameters, it's just one. So I've created a new project here. I will create a new class called, I don't know, practice. I'll just call it practice. And I'll have a public static void main string args to have it be a runnable class. And then so what I'll do in here is I will make a call to a method, and this method will, I guess, return a string as an output, and it will be a, I don't know, reverse method. And it takes one argument as the sentence to reverse. Perhaps. I'll have to make it static because I'm going to, have to refer to it from above right here. So I'm going to be able to say reverse and call the reverse method and pass in a sentence. So the first sentence is hello world 1. And, well, let's just start with that one, and we'll see what it actually outputs. So we'll do a system out and have it output the return value. So for now, let's make it return null, and let's make sure we can actually run this. So I'll right-click and say run as Java application. It should just return null. There we go. That's what I expected. Very good. So now, to make it actually return something of substance, we need to do a couple things. So the first thing is that you need to, this question tests your knowledge of strings and how strings are implemented inside of Java. Strings are actually implemented inside of Java as an array of characters, and you can take advantage of that. You can take advantage of the fact that it's an array because if it's an array, it's traversable, and you can traverse it backwards. Okay? So that would be the first thing that you need to understand. The second thing is you need to know how to split a string. So it's string manipulation. So the first things first is to split. So I'm going to do so the sentence to reverse is the one that's being passed in, which is right here, hello world 1. We're passing it into the reverse method, which is right here. Sentence to reverse is the string, and I'm going to say dot split. And what dot split does is it splits a string based on an input. So it splits it based on an input, and it splits it into an array of strings. And what am I going to split it by? I'm going to split it by a space. So I'm going to split it by the space, which means it's going to split it up into 3 different chunks. The first chunk is going to be hello, because then there's a space, and then it's going to be world, and then there's a space, and then it's going to be 1. So we're going to have an array of strings with size 3. In array index position 0 will be hello. In array index position 1 will be world. In array index position 2 will be the number 1. So I need to say that it's an array of strings, and we'll call this the, I don't know, result or something like that. Okay? We'll call it the result array. How about that? So, very good. Now, what we want to do is, because we've only passed in, or we're only grabbing one parameter here, we are hopefully going to assume that the last string in our sentence being passed in, we're going to assume that the last string is going to be the actual number that we're going to be using to figure out which word to reverse in the sentence. So the first things first is we need to figure out what index to reverse. So we'll call it the int index to reverse. How about that? And we will say it's the sentence to reverse, or sorry, no, the result array dot length, because we want to know the length of it, -1, because it's a zero-based index, and we'll do result array at, sorry for yelling there, result array at index position length -1, which will give us a string. So it's complaining that this is a string, and it wants it to be an integer. So we'll have to say integer dot value of the string. So there's a few things here that you need to really have an understanding of, and how to sort of mess around with stuff. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to have a beverage. It's in the evening right now, so I'm having a nice beverage. So you need to know to do an integer.value of. Integer.value of, what that does is it takes in a string, and it converts that string to an integer. Okay? And I want an integer because now it's an index. I can use it as an actual index. So this is the actual index. I shouldn't say this is this the index? Let me double check. Maybe it's not zero-based. No, because this is number 1, which means it's the first word, so that's not zero-based. So it's not really necessarily an index. It's more a word to reverse. Okay, so which word do we want to reverse? So the number in here represents the number of the word that we want to reverse. Which I guess would that be an index? No, we'd have to subtract 0 or subtract 1 from this word to reverse to make it zero-based. So having said that, we want to reverse that actual word. So how do we do that? Well, we have this array of strings. We have a resulting array. And now I should preface this by saying I haven't done this yet. This is my first time going through this. So if I do this wrong, I apologize. So that's why it might take a little while for me to do this whole video, because I'm sort of thinking on my feet as I'm going through this, which is essentially how people would have to think in the interview. So that's kind of a real world scenario. There you go. So the result array, we want to get the result array at word to reverse -1. Okay, and I say -1 because the word to reverse here will get the last value in the array. So the last value in the array is the number 1, and it's to be an integer 1. So we want to grab that means the first word, but the first word is at index position 0 because it's zero-based. So we want to do 1, which is here, -1, which becomes 1 minus 1 is 0, and the result array at index 0 is the word hello. So this is essentially the word hello, and we want to reverse the word hello. But this is where we need to know that strings are stored as an array of characters. So I believe we can say tochar array. Okay, so the tochar array method is just a string method. It's a method that you can do on any string, and I can prove that to you by having a string here. I can say string, here's a string, and I can say dot, and I can say tochar array. So it's going to convert the string into a new character array. Okay, that's what it does. So this is going to be an array of chars. So this is going to be my word array, let's call it. Okay. So now I can just say for inti equals word array dot length, because I want to start at the end of the array. Length, do I want to do length -1? If the word, well, let's see, the word is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters in size and length, but I want to start at the last position, which is 5 minus 1, which is 4, because it's a zero-based index. So yes, I want to start at length -1, and I want to go until while I is greater than or equal to 0, I minus, because I want to subtract. I'm going to go backwards, okay? And what I want to do is I want to essentially assign this character array into a new character array. We'll call it the new word, or the reversed word array, like so. And then we'll say equals new char array of length word array dot length, because it has to be the same length as my word array. Okay, as the word hello, hello is 5 in size. We want this new reverse word array to have the same size, which is 5. So then we can say reversed word array at I want to say at I, but it's not I, because then it's just going to do the same thing. So it's almost like we have to have an index count. We'll just start index at 0. So the at index is equal to word array at I, because I here starting at 5 or 4. So position 4 would be O, and we're going to take O and put it into a reversed word array of index 0, which is going to be the first letter in the reverse word array, which is going to be O, and we're going to do that, and then we're going to do index plus plus, because we need to increment the index. So at the end of this for loop, we're actually going to have this reversed word array, which is a character array, or an array of characters, which are the reversed word now. So it's hello backwards. So now we want to return a string, a full string that represents our properly assembled array here. Now here's an interesting thing, because we're going to have to know at what position to put everything. So this is interesting. So the return, how is it good? Is there a good formula for figuring out how to return? Because basically this reversed word array that I've created now, which is going to have the word hello backwards as a char array, I need to plug that into an actual string in such a way that it makes sense, in such a way that it's hello world still in order. So is there an easy way to do that? I mean, I know that because it says 1, it's going to be the first word so that we want to start with. So the fact that the result array, so the word to reverse, this is kind of a bad, this is the int, word to reverse, I don't know, what do I call this, index? I don't know. So I need to do something based on that index. So because I want to return the result array, essentially. I want to return the result array all concatenated back together, only I want to not concatenate that one word that needs to be reversed. I want to concatenate that with the other one within my reversed word array. So how would I do that? It's almost like I need to reconstruct a new string. Let's say reconstructed string, call it str for short, equals blank. You could also make this as a buffer. If you want to be really crazy, you can do a string buffer. And then what you can do is you can say for, let's see, would I go int I equals 0, I is less than result array dot length, I plus plus. So in other words, I'm saying back here, I'm saying for every word in my array of words that I had passed in, I want to iterate through that. But maybe I want to do length minus 1 because I don't want to grab the number 1 again. I don't want to return that. So then I can say, if I is equal to my word to reverse index, which was what? Which was non-zero based. So it's the word to reverse index minus 1. Then I want to append to my reconstructed string my reversed word array. Is that going to work? Nice, it does work. So even though when I append Append also takes a character array, because like I said, a string is just an array of characters. That's all it is. So I want to do that. Otherwise, I want to say reconstructed string dot append, and I want to append my result array at index I. Perhaps. Now, also, I need to remember to append a space between all these things, plus a space. And then maybe, is that not going to work? Must explicitly convert char. Okay, so let me also just say reconstructed string.append, and we'll just do a blank space that way, because apparently it doesn't like the concatenation thing going on there. All right, which maybe I could have concatenated like so. No, it doesn't like that either. Okay, never mind. Bad idea. Okay, so then we need to maybe delete that last leading or trailing space. So we could say something like, I don't know, reconstructed string dot. Is there a way to remove? See, this is where I wouldn't know this one off the top of my head. How to remove a character? I guess you would do a substring. Yeah, you do a substring from 0 to the reconstructed string dot length minus 1 or something like that, and you would assign that back to the reconstructed string. So what that does is it gets rid of the interesting. It doesn't allow me to do that because that returns string to string buffer, because this is a string that it's returning and this is a string buffer. So what I say dot set. Yeah, I wouldn't know that one either. Interesting. Because I wouldn't want to append. So maybe I got too fancy with the string buffer. Maybe I didn't need to use a string buffer, because maybe I'm making this more complex than it really needs to be. Unless the string, the initial string is very, 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 very long. It's like maybe it's an entire book or something. Then the string buffer would come in handy. But I know there's a way. I know there's a way to do to remove something. Oh, there's delete. There we go. Delete char at index. See, I wouldn't have known that one. So I would have had to say to the guys, look, in the interview, I would have had to say, look, I know there's something in a string buffer that allows me to delete a character at a certain index. And I would say, I'll just use that. So hopefully they would take that as an acceptable answer. Because, I mean, who knows all these things off the top of their head? I don't, and I've been programming in Java for the last decade of my life. So reconstruction string dot length minus 1 is the character I want to delete, which is the last character. That should work. Hopefully it's 0 based. I assume it's 0 based. Okay, and then I would return reconstruction string dot toString. Reconstructed string dot toString. Okay, so let's run this again. I know it's not going to work the first time around. Well, almost. Look at this. Hello world. It didn't put the space in. So why did it not put the space in? I said append the reversed word, and then I said append a space. So why would it not have done that properly? Interesting. Well, I guess there's no other way to do it than to figure it out rather than to do a debug. So let's do a debug. I mean, pretty good for my first time, right? I literally did not. This is my first time going through and giving this a try. And off the top of my head, this is the solution. It was almost perfect. Anyway, I'm patting myself on my back here. So there it is. And then look, I say append a blank space, which is there. Yeah, that's good. Ooh, right. There we go. That's the problem. So I'm deleting the character right away. You should put the deletion of the character at the very end, because we only want to delete the last character at the very, very end of the process, not after every single iteration. So there you go. Hello world. Now, let's check out the other input. Pass in this other input. Oops. Come on, now work with me. And let's do a run as. look at that. What is the meaning of life where meaning is reversed? So there you go. That is the solution. Whether or not this is the best solution, I don't know. It's a bit wordy. I didn't realize it was going to be such an involved solution that would need to come out of this. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to this. So I don't know if this was for an entry level position. If this is for like an entry level Java programmer position, this is a pretty, complex problem for an entry level. But anyway, there maybe an intermediate level I would ask this. I don't know. It depends on how much experience someone has had with Java and the interwoven complexities of doing whatchamacallits here, string manipulations and whatnot. So anyway, the alternate situation here is that the number 1 and the number 4 being passed in are actually a second variable or a parameter, right? So in the case where this is a secondary parameter, like something like this, it's a int and then an index or something like that. Then what happens is instead of passing in what is the meaning of life and then 4, you would pass in what is the meaning of life, comma 4. And then that way, when we split the array up, we wouldn't need to worry about doing this word to reverse index. That would just be this. So this would actually be our word to reverse index. And we would delete this. And then, it would change some of the workflow, right? It would change, like we wouldn't want to get rid of that last word. So we wouldn't do a -1 here. We do a dot length. I don't know what else it might mess around with. Like if I were to just run this now, I don't know if it'll work properly. Oh, look at that, it did. What is so there's the changes. So if you're passing it in as a secondary parameter, this would be your output. You need to remember to remember to include that last thing, a word in your result array. Otherwise, if I back out those changes, you need to do a -1 here to get rid of that last quote-unquote word. That's the number. Yeah. And there you go. So that's the original code. If I run this back again, like so, it's a Java app. Or it's a Java app. It's the original app. Although I see there looks like, no, there's no white space at the end. Excellent. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and copy this and paste this into the forum post, and I'll also obviously post in this video as an explanation for my solution. So hopefully that was helpful to you, and hopefully it was helpful to anyone else that may have wandered in and seen this. So yeah. It's always a pleasure to do these things. And if anyone else has any other fun questions like this, please, by all means, post them in the forums, because this is I like this kind of stuff. Oh, now, sorry, to answer the other thing, how do what's a good book and resource I'd recommend for practicing this coding problem? I'm not exactly sure I can think of a book off the top of my head, but I know there is a book. When I went through the Google interview process, Google recommended a book that had a lot of crazy stuff like this, and I can't remember what it was called for the life of me. Let's see, Google Programmer Interview book. What was it called? Let's call it Practice. What's the word? Algorithm book. How should I prepare for my my Google interview for algorithms? There are many great books. Ooh, here's a Quora thread. Algorithmic questions. Oh, coding interview questions? No, that's an actual blog. There's, I know that, I wonder if I would recognize the name of the book if I were to see it in front of me. Oh, what's this? Got a whiteboard and markers spent every day. Cracking the code interview. This might have been it. Cracking the coding interview. Let me take a peek inside. I think this was the book. If I were to go through... Yes. Yes, I do recognize this. So there you go. This was the book that I believe that I used when I was preparing for my interview with Google. So yeah, there we go. That would be my suggestion. Cracking the coding interview, but I mean, you don't have to pay for a book, right? There's a whole bunch of places on Quora here. So all you need to do is type in this Google search, Google Programmer Interview Practice Algorithm Book. It's a definite nonsensical sentence, but it gives you some good Google results. So there you go. That would be my suggestion for the second question with respect to what book to grab for practicing these coding problems. So hopefully, like I said, yes, if anyone else has any fun things like this that they would like to challenge me with, then by all means. I might not be able to get back to you as quickly as I did for this particular individual. Like you can see, they posted this 16 minutes ago, and I'm already diving in and solving the problem. I just happen to have some free time on me right now this evening, and I jumped in and I was eager to do it. So but if you have any other questions, by all means post them, and perhaps I will become an eager beaver and I will jump in and answer your question for you. So there you go. I'm going to stop blabbing, and I will let you guys enjoy your evenings or days or afternoons or whatever it is that it is for you at this particular time. So take care of yourselves. Happy learning, and bye for now.